Hey everyone, welcome to Small World Gaming. I'm Evan, and today I'm going to show you how to set up and play Underlings of Underwing. In this video, I'll be using the playmat that's available for the game. The object of the game is to use your workers to collect elements and hatch dragon eggs that are worth points. The person with the most points at the end of the game is declared the new Dragon Lord. To set up the game, shuffle the cards egg side up and set them above the hatching ground. We will be setting up the game for 3 players, so we will deal out a 4x3 grid of cards. You can see on the playmat that the grid size changes based on your player count. If you're playing without the mat, you can simply lay the cards out in a grid on your playing surface. Let's take a closer look at the cards. The cards are made up of an egg side and a dragon side. On the egg side, it shows the type of dragon, the elements needed to hatch it, and the number of points it's worth. On the dragon side, it shows its points value, the dragon's temperature, which can be hot, cool, or neutral, and also the tame and wild hatching effects. More on those later. Next to the hatching grounds is the field. On the playmat, it's attached, but there's a field board in the box. Simply lay it out next to the card grid if you're not playing with the playmat. The field is a rondel where handlers may be assigned to collect elements. In the middle is the tower, where you can collect the white element. Handlers left in the field will continue to move around the rondel collecting elements each turn until recalled. Each player gets a player board and 2 handlers in their color that are placed in the ready room. The remaining handlers are placed on the turn and handler tracker board. For a 3-player game, it's suggested you play with a maximum of 5 handlers per player. Place the turn marker on the turn track. For a 3-player game, it's suggested to play 13 rounds. Place the crystals in the bag if they aren't already, and find out who most recently ate eggs and give them the first player marker. Now you're all set up and ready to play. Each round is broken into 4 phases. Those phases are element collection, move and assign handlers, infuse elements, and collect and hatch eggs. The first phase is collect elements. You gain 1 element per handler you currently have. These elements come from one of 2 places. Either a specific element gained from having a handler in the field that matches the space it's on, or randomly drawn from the bag for any handlers you have that are in the hatching ground or the ready or break rooms. You sometimes also gain elements in this phase from tamed dragons, but those are in addition to the ones you gain for your handlers. In the very first turn, all your handlers are in the ready room, so you will draw 2 random elements from the bag and place them on your player board. Pass the bag to the left until everyone has their elements. Elements may be traded between players at any time during the game. You may only trade elements you have in your possession, not ones that have already been placed on eggs. There are no limits on the balance of the trades. It's up to you to decide if it's a fair bargain or not. The next phase is assign and move handlers, which has a few steps that must be done in order. At the start of this phase, if anyone has handlers in their break room, these will move to the ready room and be able to be assigned a task. Second, all handlers in the field move 1 space clockwise along the track. The exception to that is if a handler was in the tower. That handler goes to the break room. Since you already moved handlers to the ready room, this handler won't be available until the next round. First, you may assign a handler to the field to collect elements. You may only have 1 of your handlers on a space at a time, but you may place your handler on a space occupied by another player's handler. Second, you may assign a handler to an unclaimed egg in the hatching grounds to claim that egg. Once your handler is on an egg, no other handler may be placed on that egg unless you recall the handler, a wild hatching causes your handler to be removed, or if a dragon effect causes the handler to be removed or replaced. The third action is you may recall a handler back to the break room from the field or from an egg. Next, we move to the infuse elements phase. In this phase, you must place one element on any card you wish for each handler you currently have. Each egg card requires multiple elements to complete. Primary color spaces can only be filled by that color. Secondary color spaces may be filled by an element of that color, or you may fill it with two primary colors to make the secondary color. In this example, I used blue and yellow to fulfill the green space. Black element spaces can be completed by using a black element, or you can combine all three primary colors or all three secondary colors. If using the secondary colors, you can also combine primary colors to make any of the secondary colors needed to combine into black. So I could combine red and yellow to make orange, and then combine that with purple and green to make black. It's important to note that if you combine elements, no matter how many elements you place to make the combination, it counts as one element for the purposes of placing one element per handler. White is the only color you cannot make by a combination. You can only gain white from the tower or from a random draw. If an egg has all its spaces filled during this phase and there is no handler assigned to the egg, this causes a wild hatching. The egg hatches immediately, and you apply the effect in the red wild hatching banner. In this example, we add one yellow element to all adjacent spaces. In addition to whatever negative effect the wild hatching causes, the hatched dragon is not removed from the grid and permanently takes up that space. If any decisions need to be made in regards to the wild hatching effect, the player who placed the element that triggered the wild hatching makes those decisions. The last phase in the round is to collect and hatch eggs. If a claimed egg has all its element spaces filled, remove the elements back to the bag, place the card egg side up in your play area, and place the assigned handler on top of the card. To make a tame hatching, this handler must remain with the egg for one round. It will hatch during this phase in the next round. If any players have eggs that were collected the previous round, they now hatch. You do this in player order. Turn the card over to the dragon side and apply the effects of the green tame hatching banner. The effects range from gaining the choice of an element, gaining a specific element every round, gaining a new handler, to more powerful and unique effects on the legendary dragons. You also get the points the card is worth. Once you reach a total of 12 points, you get your third handler if you didn't already receive it from a tame hatching effect. At 25 points, you earn your fourth handler, again, only if you haven't already received it. Any other handlers you may earn can only come from tame hatching effects. Once you're done with the collect and hatch phase, pass the first player marker to the left. Move the round tracker down, and begin the next round. If it is the last round of the game, all collected eggs hatch immediately. Remember to do it in player order. Then total up all the points you have earned. There are 3 bonus scores you can earn for having the most of a particular temperature. If you have the most warm or the most cool dragons, you gain an extra 15 points for each. If you have a neutral temperature, earned by having an equal number of warm and cool temperature dragons and any number of neutral dragons, you gain a 20-point bonus. If players are tied for the most warm or cool dragons, each player earns the bonus. The player with the most points wins. I hope this video helped you learn how to play Underlings of Underwing. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below or tweet them to me, and I will answer them as soon as I can. And remember, live small and leave it all on the table. I'll catch you next time.